Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works. I am your host, Mike Patton. And on this episode, I'm going to talk to someone that I came across one of her brilliant pieces of work. And I was like, man, I got questions. I've got to know this journey. My guest is, let me just run down the list of things you do. There'll be author,
Okay.
actress, speaker, screenwriter, producer. I'm pretty sure there's something I'm missing, but it is the one and only Briana Cole. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate the invite.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And of course, on this episode, we're going to be getting to know your journey to where you currently are. For those that don't know, how I came across Brianna was looking on Tubi, and I kept seeing commercials for or just advertisements for a movie called Sugar Mama. I'm like, I'm gonna have to watch that. It looks interesting, and I like the little creepy movies. I'm a big Jordan Peele fan, so I was like,
Same.
okay, the little creepy movies. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me check this out. So I checked it out, and I was like, okay, cool. And I, be honest, I'll give the story how I came across you.
Okay.
Um, Posted something on Twitter. It was like, yeah, I call it Twitter. I don't call it X. The only
Yeah.
X I recognize is DMX is Malcolm. DMX and Malcolm X. That's it.
I love
But
it.
I said, well, I put something out there, and then you retweeted it, and I was like, okay. And I looked, I was like, hold up, she did that. So that's literally my reaction. So definitely had to bring you on the show, kind of understand and find out more about your journey. We're gonna do that and more just a second into the show, but first we have the Black Girl Magic moment. Usually it's a moment or talking to or highlighting a Black woman in excellence. But in this episode, I want to pay respects to two Black women that, of course, been in my life since I've been born in this world. First, I want to say about Dolores Patton. Dolores Patton, that is my aunt. She was born September 26, 1950, same day as my mom, actually. Um, but not the same year, but but you get the point. Of course, she definitely was her own special person. She definitely had a lot of feisty spirit. Was gonna let you know how she felt, and she was gonna do what she had to do. And she definitely was a person full of joy, full of energy as well. And she passed on January 1st, 2005, the age of 2025. I'm sorry, at the age of 74. She'll be greatly missed, and I just wanted to pay respects to her. But I also wanted to pay respects to my other aunt on my mom's side of the family, which is Catherine Rabin, or Kathy Rose, as everyone knows her. Or I'm sorry, Dolores. Everyone knows her as Aunt Poochie, by the way. So, but Kathy Rose is how my aunt on my mom's side is very much known. Everyone knows her as that. She was born May 11th, 1948. Of course, she was always the life of the party. If there was some kind of music going on or anything like that, oh, she's gonna dance. Even if when she had her walker, she was gonna dance and find a way. So, always was the life of the party. Always, spoke very highly of me, and definitely was one of my supporters, and I definitely love that. She passed on January 19th, 2025, at the age of 76, and I just want to dedicate this show and this episode to both of those strong ladies, those beautiful Black women that were examples for a lot of different people in my family and around them as well. And I thank you. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all again one day on the other side. So I just wanted to kind of dedicate the show to them. I felt that was only right to do
Of course.
as well. So
Very
you know,
fitting, of course.
definitely. But of course, we don't want to get too sad and everything going into the show. We do want to speak a little bit of joy and happiness along the journey, which is your journey, and find out where you started. Now, in order to do that, we have to go back to the beginning, growing up. Where did you grow up?
Born and raised in Atlanta. They don't make us no more. Born and raised in Atlanta. Went to graduated high school at Henry County, and then I went out to Georgia Southern University.
Oh, I
And
know somebody that went there too, but go ahead.
yeah, yeah, the real GSU, of course, absolutely. So, so yeah, Georgia's my home, definitely Georgia Peach, all the way.
Got you. Now, as far as Georgia Southern, there's a DJ in Nashville that named Dola White that actually went there, I believe, too. So
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I know.
he's been for 20 plus. He's been there since 2003, I think. Yeah,
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Georgia's. I love my school. I went out there because they had a one of the few writing programs in the state of Georgia, and so they had a writing and linguistics degree that I was like, "Ooh, that looks good." And so yeah, 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 yeah. But I know a lot of people went to Georgia Southern, so it was a good school. It
okay.
was a good.
All right, all right. So I got to ask you, going back to Atlanta now, I will say you said you were born and raised in Atlanta. I would say you said it doesn't happen very much anymore. Well, in Nashville, there's not very many Nashvillians that are born and raised in Nashville like me. So I kind of
Really,
kindred spirit like that with
you
in
know how
terms
that
of
goes.
yeah, definitely. They call us unicorns up here. If you're born in
Oh, yeah.
Nashville and raised in Nashville, like okay. I was like,
Right,
and when
right.
they say that, I'm like, I think about that and I'm like, okay, if they met my whole family and it was my whole family living in Nashville, what would that mean? So, but
Right.
anyway,
That is
how was
funny.
it? How was it growing up in Atlanta when you were growing up?
It was great. I Oh my goodness. I wasn't really into, the creative space at that time. Like I've always been a reader, but as far as like my pulse on the ATL life and all that, of course that didn't come till I got older. But growing up, I uh, supportive parents, entrepreneurial spirits. Like I said, I was always the weird girl a little bit. I didn't too much watch TV. I didn't too much go outside. I always had my head in a book. I was lame. I'm not gonna lie. I was what the kids say, a dork or whatever. I was super smart. I was popular, but I was super smart. Like I took my studies very seriously. And one thing about me is I've always loved to read. Always loved to read. So I knew at a young age that I wanted to write because I kind of was like, oh, I could do this. Like, I would love to build these stories and stuff. So, and I say creativity is my superpower. I think I've always been a very creative person and asking what if and this. I used to carry around a notebook. My mom hated this. I used to carry around a notebook and anything that kind of that I thought was funny or I wanted to use, I would write it down. So she would have to say she would be careful talking around me because it would come up in my notebook. I would write down the stuff that she would say and she hated it. But I was like, no, but this is good stuff. This will make a good story. So yeah, that was me all the way like from age 6 up.
All right. Now, you mentioned reading and being in the books and things like that. So, and we mentioned writing came later. But, growing up, since you like to read, what was one of the things you wanted to be first, as a kid? You're like, I want to be that when I grow up.
No, I've always known I wanted to be a writer. I've always known I wanted to be a
Oh,
writer. I
okay.
just didn't know. You know how when you tell somebody like you're gonna be a writer, it's like, okay, but what's your real job? You know what I'm saying? You know how that
Hmm.
goes. So I didn't know how I was going to leverage writing. I was just like, well, I know in whatever capacity, I'm gonna write something. And when I went to high school, I even started a greeting card business. So I thought for the longest that I was gonna start a greeting card business. And then I kind of was like, well, maybe I'll be a magazine editor. I was like, that would be awesome. So again, I'm looking at different avenues to leverage my writing in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I just didn't really know where it was going to land. At one point as well, I also said I wanted to, because I still am, be an actress. I'm a huge theater buff. So when I say actress, not even more so film and television, I've done that, but my heart is with theater all day long. I can't sing worth nothing, but I said, I could see myself maybe on Broadway or something if I didn't have to sing, but I've always loved acting too. So again, it's kind of two sides of the same coin, still telling stories, but either writing or acting it out like it's still there. So yeah, it was going to be using my creative superpower in some way. I just wasn't sure what.
Okay. Well, it seems like you've kind of found your way into what you like to do. We're going to get into how you kind of maneuvered your way into that field and
Okay.
everything and a little more. but we're going to take a quick commercial break on This
Okay.
Woman Works.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off on these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get these the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
And we are back on This Woman Works, episode 36. I named this one The Bright Lights because Briana Cole, you're definitely in the bright lights now. So, but yeah, before we get to, going into your career, of course, I always do this on just about every episode of This Woman Works. I explain why I have a beard commercial on the show that's, with Black women and talking about Black women and supporting Black women. Because I mean, sometimes I look at people's faces while the commercial is going on, like, why has he got this commercial here? But or I think about it. But here's the thing: as Black men, do we really take care of ourselves all the time? No, we probably do not. And a lot of times, it takes a nice Black woman to kind of point out a few things. They'll be like, maybe it's your mama, your auntie, your cousin, your sister, somebody to kind of point out, hey, you might want to take care of that. You might want to go get that cut. You might want to get your beard trimmed up. You might want to do something to that. Hence, I put that commercial on this show. So that way, maybe more women that are watching the show can be like, hey, I need to get you that. So you can work that out.
I love it. I love it. Very clever.
So there we go. But getting into your career, when did you kind of, I guess, first get into kind of the entertainment and, that type of field? When did you first kind of delve into it?
Like with screenwriting and stuff, like into the movies and everything. Okay, so I'm gonna back up and kind of go in a linear order here. I graduated school, settled down, had a family, didn't really focus too much on my career. I got a real job and just kind of, just plowed ahead that way. I had a family to take care of. But it around 2013, I kind of, realized that I was sitting on my talents. And I think that I met another writer at the time at my job, and I thought that was super cool that she had published a book. And I'd always kept writing, but I had never really moved it past my typewriter or my computer. I just kind of was like, I mean, it'll get out there, but I just kind of had left it. So I didn't really pursue it seriously until I met this writer at my job. And she was going around showing people and getting people to buy her children's book she had published. And right from that point forward, I was like, you know what? What am I waiting on? Like, it really was a light bulb moment. Like, what am I waiting on? Let me just dive into it. So I finished a book and I published my very first book in I want to say it was 2014. So I became a published author first. And I've since had 10 books published, some independently, some under Carl Weber, some under my
Oh, nice.
some under that's under a pseudonym, and some under my traditional publisher, Kensington Defina Books, because I was like, I just I found that I was going to be an author. I wrote books, fiction books, different genres like romance, some a little bit of erotica, some psychological thrillers. Everything kind of had a little bit of a thrill element. I've always been a big fan of thrillers. So yeah, I became an author first, and it wasn't until probably closer to 2017, 2018, that my then literary agent was the one that kind of was like, you write cinematically, like your books almost read like movies. And you're an actress anyway. Why not start writing stuff you can act in? Like, it just seems, and you got the content, you got books, so you can just adapt your books. Like, that's an easy segue. Never in my life thought I was going to be a screenwriter. And all the way back to when I said I was 6 years old and I knew I was going to write, didn't know what I wanted to write. Writing movies and television never crossed my mind, not once. So this was new and fun and exciting and lots of work trying to get there. So yeah, I started trying to perfect that craft. I was like, you know what, let me try. And my agent was the one that got me my first screenwriting gig, because she was trying to produce a movie. And she was like, why don't you write it with me? We can write it together. We can learn together. And I learned so much from her. And just, like I said, I'm self-taught. So trial and error, like, it was writing stuff and writing bad stuff and trying again and learning and reading other scripts of some of the greats and stuff, watching tons of movies, all of that. So yeah, I realized, like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And when I saw my first screen credit hit that TV, I was like, oh yeah, y'all don't woke up a beast now. Like, let's back now. I love this. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So that was about 2018-ish, 17 going into 18, when I kind of started looking into segueing.
Okay. All right. All right. So you said, you mentioned your literary agent, your first
Yeah.
job, y'all were writing together. So I don't know if you want to divulge what that was, but if you can divulge what it is. If not, that's fine. But what was it like that first time script writing and kind of just fully diving into it?
Oh my goodness. So it was great. So our very first project is called Mamis. It is on Tubi and Peacock, and it was an amazing learning experience more than anything. And like I said, it really allowed me to see everything from the other side of the camera, because by then I'd already been doing some acting. Like I said, I remember I told you I was a theater background, but I've also done some small stuff like true crime reenactment. Like, I was on a few episodes of Fatal Attraction for my man, that kind of stuff. So I was very familiar with being in front of the camera, being on set, all of that stuff. I've done background work. I know that part. But being on the other side of the camera, I was like, wow, this is nice. This is really cool to see the whole thing come to life, from that very first script all the way to the movie premiere. You know what I mean? I was like, this is really, really awesome. So it was great. Lots of trial and error. Like I said, lots of learning, lots of frustration, just trying to get it all together and make movie money stretch, because trust and believe, you don't realize how movies are so expensive until you get into it. And really trying to, okay, we're gonna make 20,000, let's say, for example. Sounds like a lot of money, but in the movie world, it's not. So it's but again, I appreciated the entire process. I appreciated my agent, because like I said, she was like a big sister mentor for me as well. And it just really, she was the one that pushed me into writing one of my first book to film adaptations, The Marriage Pass, that hit Tubi as a Tubi original last year, which we'll talk about. But she was the one that said, like, again, she was the one the whole time, like, Briana, you should. And I was like, so it's great to have that support system and somebody in your corner that believes in you, because I wouldn't have, like I said, I wouldn't have never even thought to go down this journey. So, but that was very exciting for sure.
I'm making a note here, The Marriage Pass. I'm gonna make sure I check that
Oh
out
my
too.
goodness. Yes. So The Marriage
Okay.
Pass was my first sold script. It's based on my book of the same name, also a To-Be original. And if you like Sugar Mama, you will love The Marriage Pass. I mean, just throw that out there.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. I'm gonna check that out. But I do have to
Okay.
ask. I do have to ask though, what was the one moment in all of this where you were like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I should be doing. When was that? Do you remember that one moment when that happened?
The moment for me, I think, was when, so shortly after I co-wrote, Go to Mamis with my agent at the time, and I saw that credit hit that screen. It was watching that movie and pulling from the experience that I learned, working with her and working with making that movie, that my dumb behind was like, well, you know what? I can do this. Let me write my own movie. And so I did. I wrote my own movie and funded it, put the money behind it, did the casting, got the producer, the director, the locations, the score for the music, everything. I got it, the distribution. I was able to find a distributor through Damon Dash Studios, the Damon Dash. Yes. So he distributed for me. And I did the movie premiere, like everything from the very beginning till that movie hit the TV screen. I did it all, like, with my team, but I was the one, that was my baby. And I think it was at that moment, just throughout that entire process, that I was like, this is it right here. This is me. I have found it. And to the point where I had said at that point, I wasn't writing any more books. Like, and I was an author. I was a published author, under contract and everything with my publisher, and like had good momentum. I had my supporters, but at that point when I wrote that movie and everything, I was like, you know what? Yeah, them books gonna have to take a back seat. This movie, this is where I need to be. This is it for me. So yeah, that was about, oh my gosh, I think that was about in 20. We were about in 2020 by then. So yeah. And yep, right in the middle of COVID, all that stuff. Yeah, it was at that moment that she knew this was what it was right here. Yeah.
Got you, got you. Now, as far as Tubi, that is an avenue. A lot of people try to, clown on movies, talking about
They
Tubi and
do.
things like that. But I will say that Tubi does offer an opportunity for maybe people that aren't as known in the business to express themselves and put themselves out there and give them
Absolutely.
opportunity. So, for all the clowning that some do on Tubi, you have to also remember that Tubi gives opportunities as well
They give
for people
opportunities.
to create.
100%. And I think it's just a matter of just setting yourself apart. Still, let me tell you something.
Mhm.
I'm just going, at the end of the day, I'm just going to do me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my thing
Right.
is, I'm going to put out quality work. I'm going to, do everything to the best of my ability, whatever it is. And I guess that even goes back to, let me, allowing the naysayers and allowing those types of negative perceptions to kind of roll off your back, because this stems back for me all the way back to even Georgia Southern, when you go to a party school, and I'm like, well, it is what you make of it. Like, I
Mhm.
partied, but I also graduated cum laude. So obviously, you know what I mean? So it's one of those
Mhm.
things where it's absolutely agree. It really is. It does allow opportunities, so many opportunities for me. My son is a child. My oldest son is a child actor. His movie just hit Tubi. And like I said, it's just, it really has afforded me a lot of opportunities, and I'm very, very appreciative for it. So I'm, at the end of the day, I'm just going, like I said, if my name is on it, you can expect it's going to be a good, well written project, because I put my all in behind everything that I do. I know some people may just do it for the check, and don't get me wrong, the money's nice too. But at the end of the day, it's I've worked so hard for my brand and my name, and I'm doing what I love, so it's easy for me. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So, just to ask, there are many, people that think about, hey, maybe how could I get my movie here? Or how could I do this? Or how did this happen? So, how
Yeah.
did you kind of connect with Tubi and then go from there? How did that kind of happen?
Let me tell you something. One thing that I'm always going to advocate for is networking. I mean, you
Mhm.
hear that N word, some people cringe, some people expect it, but I'm telling you, the networking, you can establish organic relationships. I've always said, like, those relationships get you in the door and your work keeps you in the room. And I have gotten so many opportunities just through networking, and just I mean, it's just, it really is. So I was able to connect with Tubi by, again, I'm self-taught, so I had to learn my own stuff the hard way. I would watch movies whether it's on Netflix, whether it's on Tubi, whether it's on Hulu, Peacock, wherever. I'm watching movies, and at the beginning and at the end, those credits that people ignore, I'm watching those. You know why I'm watching those? Because I want to see who is attached to these projects. These are the people that I want to get in touch with. These producers, this director. Oh, I like the way that was shot. Who is this cinematographer? These are the people that I'm connecting with on social media, Googling. Let me go to their website, find their information, trying to see how I can connect with them. So it was through me doing that I saw one of the producers of a Tubi original that I watched and I thoroughly enjoyed. This producer was also the producer for Lifetime, also the producer for Hallmark, a number of movies that we've all seen. And I was like, I need to connect with them. Like this is who I need to be with, clearly. So I sent them an email. I sent them a query. I sent them an email pitching a project. They asked to read the project. And now this is what I say about networking and relationships and and also to having your work speak for itself as well. So don't just think I'm just saying just the relationships alone. You still got to put in the work and make sure you got something good and quality, not just no mess. So let me tell you where this comes into play. Reached out to them, pitched them a script. They asked to read it. They read the script. They passed. They said, this is not really what we're looking for, but we'll keep you in mind, as people do, right? When you have a job interview, it's like, oh, we'll keep your resume on file. So I was like, okay. And I just went on, because you have to have tough skin. It's like, well, I'm going to get a whole bunch of no's. That's just the climate. They reached out to me. I want to say it was 9 months later, 9 or 10 months. It was almost a year later. They reached out to me. And they said, Briana, we've got an idea for a movie and we need a screenwriter. And we thought of you because we remembered that script that you submitted before, though we weren't looking for that type of project. It was like a horror. We weren't looking for that type of project, but we saw how well you wrote. And we wanted to see if you were interested in and not producing, but writing this movie. And I was like, absolutely. Like, you ain't said nothing but a word. So I did. I came on board and they hired me to write what became known as Played and Betrayed, a Tubi original. So now here we go. They came back and they thought of me. So in the middle of writing Played and Betrayed, I was like, I had just finished the Marriage Pass script. And I was like, okay, I've got the relationship now. The door is open. I'm working on a project for them. Would y'all be interested in reading the Marriage Pass script? And they were like, yeah, send it over. They read it. They was like, oh yeah, they bought it. I was like, cool. So I had 2 movies filming at the same time. I had Played and Betrayed filming in the UK and the Marriage Pass filming in Canada. And since then, this same producer has brought me on for 3 more projects. So that's when Toxic Harmony came out. Sugar Mama was another, and then I have one more under them that will be releasing in the next couple of months. It's already finished post-production, and that one will be releasing. So that's what I mean about networking, so that's one. And if you don't mind, I'll tell one more story. I told you I'm long-winded. So that was one side of it. At the same time, like, mind you, I already had a relationship, but I'm still doing my grassroots efforts of reaching out, like I just told you, reaching out to producers that I'm interested in working with. Whoop de whoop. I was watching a TV show, came across a TV show called Lace on All Black. Found who that producer was, and I had a project that I thought that producer would like. I had a TV series that I'd written the pilot script for that was in line with Lace. So I was like, oh, let me reach out to this producer. Same thing. Again, I've gotten a lot of no's, gotten tons of no's. So don't think it's just every door is an open door. It's just the persistence. So this particular producer, I pitched them a project that I had. We got on a call. She optioned the script. And mind you, since then, the script has not gone anywhere. And that's okay, because while we were looking for a home for that particular script, she said that, hey, we're looking for writers for our writer's room for season 2 of Lace. And you've already written a script that's kind of in line with what we do. would you be interested in applying to see? Like, it wasn't just her decision. It had to be vetted. The higher ups had to approve it. But would you want to see if are you interested? And I was like, absolutely. To make a long story short, was able to get into, I was a staff writer on season 2 of Lace. And here we go with networking. This same producer, she introduced me to another producer who was looking for a writer to come on a supernatural thriller that they were about to film in Ghana. They were looking for a co-writer. They already had one. They were looking for another. She introduced me, and then I came on board what is now known as Nine. They just had the movie premiere for Nine in Ghana, November, December of last year. It's releasing on Amazon and Apple TV next week, actually. You see what I mean? And from it's just boom, boom, boom. You just making these connections. And from these same connections, producers have introduced me to other producers. I have producer connections now at Fox. I have producer connections now, in various platforms and stuff. Because again, just you show up, I do good work. I'm flexible with notes and stuff, prompts. Like, it's just you letting the work speak for yourself, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing from there. So I know that's a long answer. I'm sorry, but
okay.
Yeah, networking. That's the short of it.
That's okay. Hey, speak your truth. Speak your truth. Speak your story. Now I do have to ask about Sugar Mama again.
Tell me.
If you haven't watched Sugar Mama on Tubi, it's a good movie. It is a good movie. You gotta watch it. It'll throw you off. You be like, oh, hold up. But I gotta ask. You talked about the Marriage Past, which that movie I haven't seen yet, so I gotta watch that one. Yeah. And you talked about and you talked about Sugar Mama. I know you talked about another movie as well, and I can't remember. It's escaping my mind. But as far as Sugar Mama, I just got to ask, I know there's plenty that want to know, how did that idea kind of come about for that kind of character? Now, for those that haven't watched it and you've seen the lead character, if those who have watched it and seen the lead character, you'll understand what I'm saying. I mean, that character was kind of, she was cool, she was older, but she also was, something just seemed like, ooh, okay.
She was off.
Something
she was off. Something was off. Yes.
Right.
So Sugar Mama came to be, okay, it wasn't until I started getting, going harder for, my screenwriting career that I realized that about maybe 70, 80%, as you're kind of, working towards, and working of your work actually is not your own original work. A lot of stuff you were hired to do for other people. They may have an idea or whatever, and then they kind of bring you on or bring writers on at various stages, whether they have just a little bit of a negative idea or a full fleshed out thing. So I say that to say, Sugar Mama, they came to me again. I've already written stuff for them. They came to me and they said, okay, we've got an idea. We need you to flesh this out. We want it to be called Sugar Mama. And we want it to be about a woman investor, and she invests in an app and meets a sugar baby. That's it. That's all they told me. And I was like, okay. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I sat on the ideas back and forth. And I was like, okay, they gave me they want it to be called Sugar Mama. It's about a sugar mama investing in an app and for a sugar baby. Okay. But what happens? Like that, I was like, so then of course my mind was like, well, obviously people assume it's, kind of going into the fatal attraction, obsessive type of thing. And I was like, but we've seen those stories. And see, me, I pride myself on trying to bring new, fresh perspectives and stuff, angles. And I wanted it to be where when you think about it, or when you see the trailer or see the title, you assume one thing, but it's really going to be another. So I started really thinking about, okay, well, we can do an obsessive type of thing, but in what other ways could she be obsessive? And why? You know what I mean? And kind of started branching off from there. And think about me, which you'll see in Marriage Past as well. I'm all about the plot twists and stuff. I'm all about again, taking you on a whole experience and you over here, and it's like boom, boom, and you're like, oh snap. I didn't think we were going there. I'm not afraid to go there. So yeah, when I pitched them the idea, when I pitched that to them as far as the whole thing of this is where I'm thinking I want to write this movie. This is gonna be the ending, this is gonna be whoop whoop. I held my breath because I was like, they may be like, this is not at all what we were thinking, but they loved it. It was like this, and I was like, yes. So I love when they kind of, people kind of allow me to be creative and have fun, because I really was, again, it's different. It's not expected, and it's different. And I take just experiences and like news articles and different, like, to kind of have it in my little arsenal to pull from, as far as how I want to go with different things. But I get my inspirations in different ways, just through life, period. But yeah, that's kind of how that one came to be. So they gave that little nugget, that little 1 sentence nugget of the premise, if you will, and then I took it all the way to left field. I took it and ran with it, because it is absolutely not what I know anybody expects.
Yeah, I honestly didn't expect the twist that I got in that movie. I was like, oh, ooh, okay, my.
That's what we doing.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, it definitely was something I enjoyed watching. Again, that's how I came across you, and I'm glad I did.
Yes.
But I do have to also ask, though, of course, in your journey, there's going to be some hurdles that you have to come over, or stride over, like you would in track, or some advice you would have for people. I'm gonna let that kind of marinate for a minute, and then I got these questions for you. But we do have a quick commercial break on this one, Lex.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co, or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works, episode 36, The Bright Lights, starring Briana Cole. You see how I changed it up? I changed up from the feature to the starring. But yeah, definitely. Of course, with any journey, there's going to be some hurdles you have to overcome, and I'd definitely like to get into those with you now. What is one of the biggest hurdles that you basically had to, I guess, overcome in your journey to be, a writer, author? I mean, all the different things, multi-hyphenated person that you are.
Oh my goodness. I would say definitely those. Oh my gosh, the biggest hurdles. There's so many. It's so many hurdles. I would think the biggest hurdle would be the trying to see how to navigate the rejection, and knowing that it's going to come, but still having the wherewithal and the motivation and the I guess the self motivation to continue going, even when you feel that certain things may not get the recognition it deserves. I mean, we all think that we have the next big thing, right? But even still, we're very, as Erica said, sensitive about our stuff. And when we put ourselves out there, you hope that it'll be well received. And I'm not even just talking about the rejection from those closed doors, or the no's. I mean, that's one thing, and that's one side of it. But I'm even meaning the rejection when your work, after it's gone through the process and you think you got the best thing out there, and it's still like, people are like, oh yeah, this was trash. You're like, oh no, it's not trash. Oh. But so I would say just facing those types of hurdles of it's going to be the good. You'll get the positive, you'll get those open doors and those yeses, and we'd love to work with you and all of that. And those you get those highs for sure. But then you get those lows as well. And again, when you get that low, it kind of almost eclipses all the highs. that one gonna kind of stand out in front of all of those good things that have happened. So really just like I said, just facing those head on, knowing that they're gonna come, but at the end of the day, knowing that you're just still pushing forward, still doing and doing it, realizing what you're doing it for, like I said, being passionate about your work and letting it shine through, and it'll find its audience, because those no's don't always mean like literally no, like for good. Those no's could just be not right now, or not in this way, or not with you. Fair enough. That doesn't mean you say no. Like, that's happened. I had several scripts that a producer was like no, and another producer was like, yes. You see what I mean? Things like that. It's just, you just go with it. So yeah, facing that rejection, and still pushing through despite all of that, because you believe in yourself, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you definitely answered how to overcome that as well. So, what's the best bit of advice I would say that you've received over your career that's kind of just stuck with you with each different facet, each different, individual journey along the way?
I've got a lot of advice, that's for sure. I took it all up like nuggets. I would say one of the ones that's standing pretty strong in my mind, that I've told this story before, but there is somebody that I follow. She's a consultant, and she was on live one day, and she had her baby just bouncing on her lap, and she said something I thought was really, really, really profound, and I thought that was really, some things, but it's not till you kind of hear it that it kind of settles on you. And she said that when you are apprehensive and not really sure if you want to get started with something, or I'll do it tomorrow, whatever, or you may have a fear of not doing something because, well, what if in 6 months, it hasn't taken off? What if I don't get paid from it? Or what if, you're not as far as you want to be in those 6 months? And she said, well, the 6 months are going to pass. So you want to be further along, or do you still want to be where you are? So it's one of those things, and as blatantly obvious as that was, I was like, you're right. Like, so I'm sitting here making excuses about, well, in 6 months I may not be. Yeah, but if you don't do something in 6 months, you're not going to be even where you are, So I thought that was profound. It kind of resonates with me pulling back on my Georgia Southern education, when my marketing teacher said, why do you think the Nike slogan was so powerful? Just do it. And because it spoke to everybody, just do it. Like, no excuses. Just do it. Whatever it is for you, writing, acting, cutting hair, starting that restaurant, whatever, just do it. And I think every now and then, sometimes we just need a little bit of a kick to just get over those initial doubts, those initial I just do it, So yeah, I think that kind of stuck with me. One of the things that stuck with me.
Gotcha. And what's some advice for anyone that you can give to that's wanting to get into the business, or you may be following your footsteps? I know you talked about networking, but I know, are there any other bits of advice you would have for anyone that may be following your footsteps?
100%. If you want to be a screenwriter, I highly recommend, read scripts. If you don't at this point, I read scripts like books. I read scripts for leisure because I actually like reading scripts now. But I'm not saying you got to like it, but read scripts. And I mean, if you Google the scripts, they're out there. There are plenty of scripts available. Just Google, like, for example, the Matrix script. the Sixth Sense script, How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal, Get Out. These scripts are available. Google is your friend, like literally. And you can watch the movie or the TV show as you follow along. See, not trying to emulate what you see, but just really understanding how it translates onto screen. I've learned so much from reading scripts. And see, me, I want to eventually, and I want to, let me back that up. One day I will be nominated for an Oscar, you know. So with that being the case, I read a lot of Oscar nominated scripts. Like, let me see, what is it? Where, let me try to bridge that from where that is and where I am and see how to get there. So I devour scripts. I read so many scripts, it's ridiculous. And I think that is such a fantastic teacher, really being able to break down scripts and see for yourself how it works, not just formatting, but really seeing how, okay, if I want to kind of achieve that, or as I'm reading, the emotions that I'm feeling, you know, that's what's important. Why am I feeling angry? Why do I feel creeped out? At least we're kindred spirits. I love Jordan Peele. So Jordan Peele has what I love about him, among other things, is that for all of his scripts, all of his movies, he releases what's called an annotated copy of the script. So you can purchase, the scripts are available for free, but if you want to purchase an annotated copy, he does that where you can purchase where he's written his notes in the script. So you can see what he's thinking and why he decided to do this and what some of those influences were. And that's where I learned, like with Sugar Mama, like everything means something. Those nuggets, those things. I'm following an amazing screenwriter. I'm following their train of thought, if you will, as I'm reading through. That was fantastic to me. I took those nuggets and I started adopting those types of things, not his style, but implementing some of the things that I know that worked for, and putting it into my own voice and putting that for me. As far as that has been, like, prime example in Sugar Mama, when you watch it, for those who haven't, there is a reason why she reads the book that she reads. There's a reason for that. And I don't have to mention it now, but go back and watch it if you already watched it, and look at the book she's reading. There is a reason why it's that book, that children's story, compared to all the millions of children's stories. You know what I'm saying? Back in the marriage past, there is a reason why a certain stuffed animal is shown compared to all the different stuffed animals that it could have been. You know what I mean? So I got that from him. That influence of really dialing back and making it even more of a dynamic story, because everything is very strategic and it means something. So yeah, read scripts. I can't emphasize that enough.
Okay. All right. So we've definitely got to know you in terms of your growing up in Atlanta, Georgia Southern, Tubi, how you came to writing scripts and books and everything else. But let's get to know you on more of a personal level. And this is where we have the speed round. Okay. All right. I got 10 random questions for you. Are you ready?
Do I have to spit them out like fast, like rapid fire questions? Can I think about it?
Well, you can think about it. You can think about it. I give you that.
All right.
All right. First one up. Favorite movie?
Face Off. Probably.
Face Off. Okay.
Face Off. Okay. Yes, that's one of those movies I can watch backwards, forwards, and upside down. I can quote that movie. I just was watching it the other day for the 100th time. Yes, Face Off. And and I'm saying that immediately just because it's the first one that came to mind. It's one of my favorites, but obviously, depending on the genre, I have different favorites, clearly. But immediately that's in my top.
Yeah, I like the silly, goofy, but 80s movies somewhat. Like Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, Prince, Purple Rain. Let's see.
Purple Rain, okay.
What else? I could go on and on with all the 80s movies I've watched. Good gracious. But yeah. I was a kid and I'm looking at them like, yeah, I didn't even know these movies when I was a kid. I watched these movies when I was growing. I was like, man, how did I miss these when I was a kid?
I love it.
Yep. What was the worst movie that you've watched?
Oh goodness. Not the worst.
Yeah, got to get the yin and the yang.
Not the worst. Oh my goodness.
Don't have a worst one?
Worst. I'm trying to think. think like of a reason, and watch me think of one right when we get off this call. I'm trying to think of a bad movie that I've watched that I'm not gonna even say it was bad. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And I don't know if I got one. I don't know if
I
I
got
got
one
one.
that wasn't. I got one that wasn't my cup of tea, but it was
Tell
just. It
me.
was kind of silly, but it was silly. But I was like, nah, man, nah, you
This
missed
ain't
with
it.
this for Kevin Hart. It was
Which one?
Soul Plane. I did not like Soul Plane.
Oh yeah, that wasn't really my cup of tea. That
Yeah, I was like,
that's yeah, that wasn't really my cup of tea. Yeah, that's a good. Again, every movie finds its audience. I'm not gonna bash a movie, but yeah, that one was okay. And I guess that's I kind of can agree with that. I'm not really in. I'm not really into movies that's kind of like corny or whatever. I'm not. But then again, though, I'm not gonna say that because it's just my cup of tea all day long is scary movie. I love all the scary
yeah,
movies. Well, I love scary movies, period. But I'm talking about the
mhm.
parodies of
Yeah.
scary
Oh, I know
movies.
what you mean.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, so I got you. Yeah, I can kind of go with that. Soul Plane was that probably won't make my best movie list. So yeah.
Nah. Favorite
Mhm.
actor or actress?
Angela Bassett, of course. My
Yeah,
son,
she's gotten a lot of nominations on
auntie,
this. She's got.
she she's
Yeah.
the Angela Bassett. I would
Yep.
love to one day write something for her. So
I hear you. Oh, you did also have I was gonna mention too, in those movies you mentioned, Nine and also in Sugar Mama, there was an
yes,
actress in that movie that I definitely there's Chastity Saunders. Because I remember seeing her in I remember seeing her also in Tales too, where it was the Mary J. Blige one. Yes,
yes,
I remember that too.
yes,
So yeah,
yes,
she's
yes.
awesome.
Chastity is great.
She's
Yeah,
awesome.
of course the whole team did amazing, but yeah, Chastity is great. Yes.
Yeah, she is awesome. Your favorite singer?
Oh goodness. Probably Whitney Houston. I mean, is that
Whitney.
fair? It's the Whitney Houston. Is that really fair? But
Hey,
you kind of
say
have
who
to.
you want to say.
Yeah, it probably be Miss Whitney Houston. Love her
Mhm.
music. Just love her. So yes, yeah, that's what we're gonna say.
If I had to go contemporary with any kind of women's R&B, women singing R&B, I don't know. You probably would hate me for saying this, but I think I like SZA. I do like SZA. I like listen to her music a lot.
I hate you for that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I hate you for that.
Yeah, I've listened to all those albums. I'm like, man, I don't know what it is. It's just something about her tone.
Somebody,
It's different, and it's just
yes,
I like it. But
yeah.
um,
I'm with you. I'm okay.
got another one for you. You see, you have you're having dinner with one person, dead or alive, eating dinner and picking their brain. Who would that person be?
Eating dinner, picking their brain. Um, mm, it would probably be. Ooh, it's so many. I mean, can we have a group of us? Because I got several people that I would love to have for dinner, and really pick their brain. I have so many people that I look up to as far as my influences. Like I say, Jordan, Shonda Rhimes, Courtney Kemp, Issa
Hmm.
Rae, so many. Quinta Brunson. Oh goodness,
Hmm.
yeah. But I think if I had to choose one, it would probably be Tyler Perry. And I say Tyler Perry because love I've heard the polarity with his movies and this, that, and the other. And you can have your thoughts and your opinions on his movies or whatever. But what I admire about Tyler Perry is his story. I watched his story, but also too his business mind and his work ethic. Like when I was
Hmm.
watching Maxine's Baby and seeing how he was able to negotiating his own contracts and stuff for these TV shows and syndication and all of that stuff, and just really, and of course came from humble beginnings. I'm inspired by that. You know what I mean? So him
Hmm.
as a businessman, it really is inspiring to me. So I would love to pick that apart about how he was able to successfully build his own table, like build his own table. I think that's really, really awesome.
Okay. Your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood
Is this
memory.
going to involve a book?
No, I okay. Full transparency, I know we dedicated this to your lovely aunts, and my sincere condolences about that. But I think my best I'm my sister passed away March 27th of 2021, and I believe I immediately when you said that, a bunch of memories came flooding back, and all of them involved her, and all of them involved my sister. So I think for me, it was one particular time when I used to have twin beds in my room, and we were young. My sister and I, we were like 5 years and some change and some months apart. And I remember that I was I've always been tall. My sister has always been short. And so I remember that I was hopping across from bed to bed, and I couldn't have been more than 10. And I was saying that the floor had it was lava and alligators and stuff. I was like, gotta jump across between the beds. And she couldn't do it. She's short and she was like 5, so she's 6. She couldn't really do it. So she told me, she said, Sissy, can you throw me? And I was like, yeah. I was like, but I can, but promise me if you don't make it across, you won't cry. And she was like, I promise. So I was like, well, just in case, because at the bottom of the bed was drawers were at the bottom, like the base of the bed were drawers. So I put up pillows and blankets and stuff because I was like, just in case, you know what I mean? You never know. You may not make it across, just in case. I'm trying to protect her. So we get up there, of course, hike it up, throw her across. Of course, she didn't make it. She fell and busted her chin, and all of this was just bleeding. And she was just falling to the top of her little lungs. And all I could remember saying was, you promised you wouldn't cry. Get me in trouble. I mean, never mind that her face was all busted up. I was like, I can get you a Band-Aid. Wait a minute. Just don't cry. I'm going to get in trouble. I got in so much trouble. But leave it to my sister. She was always getting me in trouble. So that's probably one of my favorite childhood memories. I got so many with her because we stayed in trouble, me and her. But gotta love those.
All right. Your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, favorite restaurant. Ooh, favorite restaurant. Hold up. Look, it's so funny because I think about restaurants that I would have normally said, and I'm kind of thinking I don't think I had a good experience the last time I was there, though. That's what I'm really processing. I'm like, that last time, the food wasn't the best, but that's usually my favorite restaurant. So I would say, okay, I'll say probably. Oh gosh, I say Papa Do's. I guess I like Papa Do's. Yeah,
I've been there
I'm a
before.
huge. I love seafood. Loves all kind of seafood. I don't do mussels too much, but everything else: lobster, crab, shrimp, all kinds of fish, oysters, squid, frog legs, you name it, I'll eat it if it's under the sea.
Okay.
So,
All
so
right.
yeah, I would say that.
Now, this leads into the next question. What's your favorite food since you like seafood a lot? And I'm pretty sure it's probably one of those.
Probably is favorite seafood. I probably would say well, them crab legs be busting though, I tell you. I love crab legs and I love lobster. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I
Okay.
like fried alligator too. Fried alligator is pretty good as well.
Okay. All right. Song in constant rotation right now.
The whole Wicked soundtrack.
Okay.
The
All right.
whole Wicked soundtrack. When I say I cannot wait to watch the Oscars, and I hope they sweep everything. That movie is. Remember, I'm a theater buff. I've seen that movie. I've seen the show when it was on Broadway twice, and then about 5 times off Broadway. I love Wicked. So when they came out with the movie, of course, I was one of the first ones there, and I have since seen the movie, I know, over 15, 20 times. I love that movie. So yeah, the whole Wicked soundtrack, specifically The Wizard and I and No One Mourns the Wicked. So yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. In this last question, I'm pretty sure this one is going to be an interesting answer. Who would play you in a biopic?
Who would play me?
Uh-huh.
Who would play me?
Mm-hmm.
Who would play me? You know what? Mm, Immediately when you said that, I thought of Brandy only because now, mind you, I'm not saying her. That's not my final answer, but she came to mind because all growing up, I used to get her like not just Brandy. I used to get. I look like Moesha specifically, especially before
Mm-hmm.
my locks, and I had braids. I wore the micro braids, all of that stuff. So I would have said her originally, but now I feel like where I am now, I think I would say Kiki Palmer, and not even for looks, not for looks, but I've watched her and she is very, very animated, let's say, like me. And I think that she would do right by me, like capturing the multifacetedness and just the different hustle stuff. Like, she's a hustler in
Mm-hmm.
of herself. And then, like I said, she is so animated. Like I can just watch her
Mm-hmm.
for days because she's so engaging. And I think I'm kind of like that. So I don't know. I guess it's my final. I think I'm gonna go with Kiki, and just because I love her too. So
All right. Well, the speed round is over. All 10
that's
questions have been answered.
too
Nah,
bad.
not bad at all. Not bad at all. And I want to thank you, Briana Cole, for coming on the show. If you can, tell everyone where they can find you on social media, any other things you're working on, whatever you want to tell, the floor is yours.
Sure. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm so glad we connected. We'll definitely keep in touch. But yes, I've done really good with my SEO optimization. So I promise if you Google Briana Cole, I'll come up. I'm the first one to come up. You'll see my books, my movies, all that good stuff. My website is brianacole.com, where you can, of course, see everything that I'm working on as well, along with my social media handles. I am on Facebook and Instagram at Briana Cole Official. And I'm even on TikTok, Briana Cole 3. I do cut up a lot, cut up a little bit a lot. So I'm there. And as far as projects that I'm working on here coming up soon, I do have 9 coming out, the supernatural thriller, which is going to be super amazing. I've seen little clips and stuff, so I can't wait for that. That comes out on February the 4th, I believe, next week. I have that coming out. Ex Door Neighbor is a to be original that will be released, and it got pushed back. Hopefully, it's this quarter sometime, so no later than March is what I'm thinking. It was originally slated to
Mhm.
release in January, but so now I think it got pushed back to March. So that will be soon. That will be soon. And oh my goodness, I am just knee deep in projects like as we speak. I run a screenwriting service where I help other authors adapt their books into scripts and things, and I got courses and all that. So I'm knee deep in helping some of my clients, and at the same time pitching. I had a meeting with some Tubi executives last week, pitching stuff, new things, and I will be entering some screenplay competitions. And I've had some pitch meetings with Lifetime, with Hallmark, with Netflix. I got a lot of things in the works. So I'm not going to
Mhm.
say too much more until the ink is dry, but just
There we
know
go.
that, yeah, I will be, it will be a lot more in store for sure. The year has just begun.
Wowee. Well, what we probably be saying at the end of the year, well, yeah, 2025. Yeah, that was Briana Cole's year. Yeah, she really did her thing that year, stuff like that. But
Yes, I love it.
yeah. Well, of course, I'm the host of the show, Mike Patton. Of course, you can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, I said the artist formerly known as Twitter, as giving props to Prince. But
Love it.
but yeah, you can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at that's THA, not THE _general_MP. This one works. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. And you can also find This Woman Works on YouTube as well. So with the Mike Patton Podcast Network, by the way. But I want to thank you all for tuning into this episode of This Woman Works, episode 36, The Bright Lights, featuring Briana Cole. We're out.
Love it.
Peace.